All right, we looked earlier in the show at Trump being asked by NBC News' Kristen Welker, as president, must you uphold the Constitution? To which Trump said, I don't know. But this was actually a more broadly disastrous interview, and I want to look at a few other moments from this interview. There was another point at which, once again, this idea of, if the tariffs make it so that there are fewer dolls available for kids, it's not really the end of the world. And what is unbelievable about this declaration from Trump is that once again, it's a complete full frontal abandonment of one of the main principles that the Republican Party and the right wing have advocated for and said they believe in for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Small government, right? Except the president now dictates policy based on his opinion as to how many toys parents should buy their kids. Take a look at this.
Said this week, got a lot of attention. You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls. Because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
So think of it. The sort of Department of Central Planning and Child Rearing of the Trump administration has determined they know, not the parents, they know what is the right number of dolls and pencils and pens that each child should have to make it a beautiful country. It is reminiscent of authoritarian dictators. It's reminiscent of Kim Jong-un saying, here are the 5 haircuts you're allowed to choose from, and here are the 6 books you're allowed to read your kids. It's not that, but it is much closer to that than the total free market, parents know best, let them figure things out. I'll make everything available through the market and let the parents decide. Another departure from a principle that they claim to hold dear and all of a sudden doesn't matter. Trump really giving up the game. Now, here's another incredible moment. We've understood casually that Trump wants credit for anything good that happens in his economy while he is president, and he wants to blame Biden or maybe even Obama for anything bad that happens economically while he is president. Kristen Welker asked him an astute question, a reasonable question. When does it become the Trump economy? And Trump really gives it up by saying, well, the good things are because of me, but the bad things are because of Biden. Take a look at this.
A deal very badly. We'll see how that all turns out, but it's got to be a fair deal.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now, and I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy, and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything. From his auto pen, which I'm sure he knew nothing about some of the things he was supposedly signing.
But, sir, you acknowledge when you announced your tariffs, for example, the stock market dropped. It's been volatile. It has since gone up.
It is,
Do you take responsibility for that? Yeah. Do you take responsibility when it drops?
Ultimately, I take responsibility for everything, but I've only just been here for a little more than 3 months.
So, listen, at least he's being honest, right? And it's up to the American people to decide, is that a valid way to analyze the economy? A priori, anything good that happens is thanks to Trump, and anything bad that happens is because of the vestiges of the Joe Biden administration? Do I believe that as an American who can think for myself? I don't believe it, but apparently there are some people that follow this guy who do believe it. Another sort of like funny but also terrifying moment, Welker mentions some items have gotten more expensive. Strollers, tires. I have friends who have particular stroller brands that they like, and now they need another piece for it or a new one or whatever. They're saying the price is crazy compared to what it was when I had my last kid. And Trump goes, this is a dishonest interview because you're bringing that up. Always his instinct, attack the interviewer.
Prices are already going up on some popular items, tires, strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already.
Yeah, so zero accountability, continued gaslighting. Not really a surprise. We then get to the very important topic of tariffs. How is they work? Trump still doesn't understand how they work. Take a look at this.
I guess you're talking about this transition cost. How long should people expect that transition to last, Mr. President?
I can't tell you that. I can tell you that we're making a lot of money. We're doing great. Again, we're losing more than $5 billion a day. $5 billion a day. You don't talk about that. And right now, we're going to be at a point very soon where we're making money every day. Look.
How soon?
We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars with China. Now we're essentially not doing business with China. Therefore, we're saving hundreds of billions of dollars. Very simple.
You take me to my next question, which is...
So I know my audience knows by now, this is not how tariffs work. Trump lacks a firm grasp of the one issue that he built his campaign around. Who pays the tariffs? How do they work? And of course, we have an economy based around buying stuff more cheaply from other countries than we could make it here. You can say you don't like it. You can say you want to change it. But to say that it's China ripping us off or that we are losing money, you know, Trump the other day said, we've sent $1.1 trillion to China. Right. But they've sent us $1.1 trillion worth of stuff. It's called trade. And so this was supposed to be the issue he really understood. He has no grasp of it whatsoever. Then the question comes up of military action. Remember, we've been told the real anti-war president is Donald Trump. What does Trump say when asked, would you be willing to send American troops to claim foreign territory? Trump says it could happen with respect to Greenland.
But we need that for international security. Do you know, we have Russian boats and we have Chinese boats, gunships all over the place, aircraft carriers, gunships, going up and down the coast of Greenland. We need that to be protected. Internationally, we need it.
So you are willing to send U.S. troops to claim a sovereign territory?
I didn't say that. You asked me a question. Would you? Is there a circumstance? It could happen. I doubt it will, but it certainly could happen with respect to Greenland.
Okay, let me...
Can you imagine, folks? This is a level of belligerence, bloodthirsty belligerence. And yet, Tulsi told us this is the anti-war guy. Trump said he's the anti-war guy. Funny moment. The topic of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett comes up. Trump says she's low IQ. This is a common thing that Trump says, I believe, disproportionately about black people. Check the facts on it. Here's what he had to say.
I look at the Democrats. They're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said, she's the future of the party. I said, you have to be kidding.
And then finally, the topic of cryptocurrency comes up. Trump is asked, are you profiting off of cryptocurrency? Trump goes, oh, I have no idea. I haven't even looked.
You're not profiting off of the cryptocurrency business
I haven't even looked.
Has your family?
I'll tell you what, look, if I own stock in something and I do a good job and the stock market goes up, I guess I'm profiting. But who really profits is somebody like Nancy Pelosi, who uses inside information. She worked for $175,000 a year, and that's at the high end, and she's worth $150, $200 million. Okay? You ought to look at Nancy Pelosi, and you ought to look at some of these politicians that are stone cold crooks. I was very wealthy when I came in. Being president, I probably cost me money if you really look.
Trump is hosting a dinner for the top holders of his meme coin, and is very obviously profiting. And then they continue with the crypto stuff, and this is really funny. Now, both Trump and Kristen Welker seem confused about this crypto stuff, but Kristen Welker starts telling him, she's trying to tell him the price of a coin, and Trump's like, are you talking about billions of dollars? Take a look at this.
Ask you about something I don't think you've been asked much about, which is you've branded your own cryptocurrency. The coin's values actually surged recently after you announced that top holders would be invited to have dinner.
I don't even know that. What did it surge to?
What did it surge to?
Yeah, what's it worth? You might as well tell me, because I have no idea.
Well, it surged. It surged. I will find it. Hold on one second. 5.2 or 58%. So 58%.
To what number?
That's not bad. 14.32.
What? Billion?
No, dollars per cryptocurrency.
$billion dollars?
No.
What's the number? I mean, what is the amount?
The meme coin's value hit a peak of 75.35 on January 19th.
But that doesn't mean anything.
And that's before your inauguration, and then it surged.
Look, I'm in favor of crypto.
Let me just ask you, what do you say to those who argue that when they hear that, they worry you're profiting from the presidency?
I'm not profiting from anything. all I'm doing is, I started this long before the election. I want crypto. I think crypto is important because if we don't do it, China's going to. Mm-hmm. And
yes. So to be frank, they're both sounding pretty damn confused about what all of this means, but okay, at least it's a topic that came up. And then finally here, always a reliable trope, Trump lies about the price of gas.
And I want to talk about China, but just staying on this idea of the economy. On the eve of your inauguration, the stock market spiked. You called it the Trump effect.
It spiked because I was elected president. Well, it didn't spike because of anybody else. It spiked because they see what I'm going to do. They know what I'm going to do with the tariffs and everything else. And I think it's actually working out better than we anticipated. Did you see oil prices? Did you see gasoline is now below, in many cases, in many states, below $2 a gallon, $1.98, $1.99, $1.97?
Well,
So you can check it out for yourself on Gas Buddy's price charts. Gas prices have not been below $2.95 since Donald Trump became president, and they're now at around $3.15 per gallon. So the strategy here is strategic confusion, real confusion, complete lack of factual knowledge when it comes to how economic policy works, and then just lie and say things are much different than they are if actually pressed. A disastrous interview. If Biden gave an interview like this, and by the way, Biden gave some pretty bad interviews, they would all be calling for the immediate use of the 25th Amendment. And by the way, more and more people are, but we'll get to that later. Let's now go to an incredible 60 Minutes report about a potentially impeachable offense.
All right. Awesome new sponsor to talk about, Wild Alaskan Company. They do sustainable seafood memberships. I got one of these boxes, and it is just phenomenal. The whole point with Wild Alaskan Seafood is that it's 100% wild caught. It's never farmed. It's from sustainably managed fisheries in Alaska, frozen at the peak of freshness, and then delivered to you. They've got 3 curated boxes, the wild salmon box, the wild whitefish box, and the wild combo box. I got a box that had everything beautifully vacuum sealed. The fish comes in pre-portioned fillets. We had crab, we had scallops. I know I should be saying scallops. It's just not for me. I call them scallops, okay? Delicious and sustainable. They have a sustainable supply-driven approach. They get products during the harvest season in a way that doesn't deplete the resources of Alaska's wild fisheries. I encourage you to go to wildalaskan.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman for $35 off your first box. The link is in the description.